Welcome back into Grand Slam Sports. As always, my name Jay Sanj alongside Charles Foster and Jackson Strasburger over at the analyst desk. Guys, we begin today's conversation talking about the Duke Blue Devils. Charles, both me and you picked against them, picking the Wolverines last time out, but they go into D.C. They take down Michigan, led by Cam Boozer and co. This Duke Blue Devil team might just be the favorite.
Yeah, that was one of those moments where, like, we sit up there, we spew our stuff, and unfortunately we are wrong a lot. And that was one of those moments where we were wrong. Duke came out, they looked like the better team. Cam Boozer had a phenomenal game, and some people say that he solidified himself as the #1 overall pick in that game. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later in my Foster 5. But I think, taking a look at that game, it showed Michigan has weakness, but to me, I'm still not sold on Duke being the best team in basketball. I still am Team Michigan in the tournament. I still think Michigan's going to win in the tournament. So my opinion has more just opened up towards Duke, but it's not changed overall. It's still Michigan all the way.
I don't know in what mindset you guys were in thinking that Michigan was going to beat Duke. I have Duke all the way in that game. Michigan's not even my second team in the tournament. I think it's between Duke or Arizona. Right now, I give the nod to Duke. I think they also have had the easier schedule in recent weeks. Cameron Boozer, you mentioned him, 22.7 points. That's 6th, and 11.1 rebounds. That's 11th in all of college basketball. This team is playing out of their mind. They have the depth pieces. They have the core 5. I just think that's what takes them the far way. I think that's why they're #1 right now.
I'm just concerned for this Duke team. Outside of Cam Boozer, if Boozer has a bad day, where do they go? What's that that second option for this team? I mean, they have guys like Isaiah Evans, like Caleb Foster, like Ngongba, the big for them. But where do they go as a second option if Boozer isn't on the game?
And I think that is the interesting part about Duke is that they're not necessarily going to have an every single day second option sometimes. I mean, this is a good team. The Duke team is a good team. It's not just Cam Boozer and friends as much as people like to make it out to be. Yes, Cam Boozer is the best player on that team, don't get me wrong, but there is other talented players on this Duke team. It's been a well-built team, and I think that's why I'm impressed by the way that Duke has played, because I thought it would be Cam Boozer and friends. They go and beat the best team in the nation, and it did not look like I was watching a solo show at all.
Isaiah Evans is one of the best second options in college basketball right now. Then you go to their bigs. I mean, they have one of the best, I think it's the best starting 5 in college basketball. And then you go to their depth. Caden Boozer. He could be a starter. He could be a very good player on a lot of other teams that are ranked. But he chose to go to Duke. He chose to play with his brother. He chose to develop under one of the best coaching staffs, which was definitely the right decision. But now, I don't get where you see they don't have a second option. I think they have multiple players who could be that second option, and one of them being Isaiah Evans, who's averaging 14.5 on 42.6% shooting right now.
I'm not saying they don't have a second option. I'm saying that they don't need to have that solidified. Like, it's not just Cam Boozer and, if he plays, who's going to step up? It's the whole team is going to step up. This team is a good team, like you mentioned. And speaking of good teams, we're going to talk about you weren't here last week. We're going to get to talk about your dark horse and your favorite team coming into the tournament. Jackson, what is your favorites looking like?
So my favorite we just talked about, it's Duke. Especially right now, I think they have definitely brought, again, this depth. That's what I think is going to be game-changing when it comes down the stretch in the tournaments. Who has the better players off the bench? I mentioned Caden Boozer. I think he is one of the best distributors in college basketball right now because he knows his first option. He's not a first option. He's not going to go out there and score. He's too small to do that, and he understands that. So he's able to pass. He's able to find great holes and move the ball very well. I take Duke just slightly over Arizona, as I mentioned earlier. Arizona has a tougher schedule coming up as they play in a harder conference. That's just the way it is the Big 12 right now, with Iowa State and Kansas and a bunch of other teams have been competitive. So Duke will have the easier schedule. They'll get the easier tournament bid. I have Duke as my favorite right now.
It just concerns me when they come up a team against a team like Arizona. I mean, Arizona was my favorite. I said last week to win the national tournament because I think in terms of teams, they are the team of all teams this year because they just have a bunch of guys who can go out and get a bucket. They don't have that in one option. And once they get Koa Pete back, they're going to be a very, very good team. And they can, to me, take down Duke. And I would think it would be by 10 plus, honestly. I think Arizona, on their best day, clears anybody in the nation.
Well, we said that about Michigan last week, and they proved us very wrong. I will not be taking that same bet against them, Duke, again.
That's
so
fair.
I think Duke, they've earned my respect. I will give them that. I will admit when I was wrong. They've earned my respect. Jackson, dark horse team that's going to make a little bit of noise.
there might be a little bias in this, but I picked Wisconsin to do pretty good, and I've got definitely some reasons. They've got 3 great players in Nick Boyd, Jonathan Blackwell, and Nolan Winter, who have all stepped up. Last year, this Wisconsin team was a team that I thought could make some noise. Then they played BYU. They lost by a terrible play call, and then they just got better. They got Nick Boyd, who comes in here and does 20 points a game. You have Jonathan Blackwell, takes a back seat, and he's still averaging just under 19. And then Noah Winter, you're big. He's been running the paint. That big 3, I think, is scary. I think can make noise. They have the 2 best wins in college basketball, beating number 9 Illinois, number 2 Michigan as an unranked team. I have the Badgers going a long way.
Jackson, they just lost to Oregon. At Oregon by 14, an Oregon team who has been utterly horrendous. I mean, yes, they have good wins. They have a good roster, but their inconsistencies are really, really bad right now.
And their inconsistency falls on their defensive side, and I will say that. Their offense is strong. They have this quick-powered, this efficiency pace. When you think of like a team to compare them, they're like a worse Alabama. Alabama's going to go out there and they're going to score 100, but they're going to lose games because they're going to give up 100. Once Wisconsin figures out their perimeter defense, that kind of maybe some post, which Nolan Winter has kind of filled that hole, but I think Wisconsin has gotten way better than they were last year, and that's why I think they can definitely make noise in this tournament.
I actually don't hate it. Because you're mentioning the Oregon one, you're mentioning the Oregon loss, so you're mentioning the inconsistencies, but a team that's going to make noise, I mean, you only need 1 loss. Any team can lose once, and yes, they're inconsistent, but they've also proven that they can upset teams or beat those teams that are ahead of them. So there's some logic there. I mean, you mentioned Alabama in that same sentence. I mean, Alabama was my dark horse team last year because it's a team that can drop 100 on you, whether you're the best team in the nation or the worst, but they give up that many. So I don't hate the Wisconsin pick. I really don't, actually, not as much as Jace did.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at some other maybe dark horses, although they have been very good this season, these being Miami, Ohio. We'll start off with the Red Hawks of Miami, Ohio at 28-0 right now, the last remaining unbeaten team in the nation. But they have played a very, very soft schedule thus far. They have not played any Power 5 programs. They've had some overtime games, but granted, it's hard to win 28 games in a row. But do you guys see the Red Hawks as a legitimate threat come the tournament?
These teams right here need to stay dark because no, their schedule is absolute cupcake, and that is the best way, especially Miami. Like, listen, SLU, you can have the case. Even though they've lost 2 really bad games within the past few weeks, the talent shows to where, like, I feel like they're talented enough to at least maybe win a few. Miami stinks of poo on roster. I mean, on paper, I just don't like this team at all. Their schedule sucks. The roster is mediocre. Yes, it is impressive what they're doing, but the second that they go against an actual power force, no. BTA, the entire game. They are losing by 30 easily. I just don't see this team going far at all.
Their offense has been very good, though. 92 points per game. Yes, they're playing cupcakes, but Charles, do you see any other mid-majors scoring that many points per game against anybody?
They're playing against tech schools. They're playing against schools where half of them, they're like tech majors, and they're going to go work at Caterpillar next week and not actually go in the NBA. I mean, this is not a school that's played against an impressive team. I'm sorry, but I said the same thing about the Patriots and the NFL side. They played against easy teams. They went against a good one. Now, Miami's going to go against a good team, and they're going to, I can't say the words that are going to happen to them, but it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be something that's going to want to be shown on live TV, and that's just the way that I feel. SOU, we can have the conversation.
Yeah, let's look at
Miami,
that now.
no.
Let's put the SLU now. You know, Jackson, that's kind of right from where you're from in St. Louis. The Billikens this year, they've had 2 rough losses as of recent, but they have shown some sparks of being a really good team. They have some actual good wins and some close losses on the schedule to some top teams. So, Jackson, what's your opinion on this Billikens team?
The difference between Miami, Ohio, and SLU. You look at Miami, Ohio. Right now, they're 8th in points per game, but they're 194th in points allowed. You go to efficiency, they're 5th in efficiency. They're 126th in opponent efficiency. SLU, 6th in points per game. They are 59th in points allowed, which is still not great, but not bad. 2nd in defense, or in defense, their efficiency shots. And then 1st in opponent's efficiency. They're being one of the most efficient teams, and they're allowing other teams to miss a lot of shots. To beat SLU, you have to take a whole bunch of shots. And if they play a team that's got that offensive power, then yeah, they're out in the first round. But how many teams are going to take 45 shots and make all of them and be that efficient level against this great defense? I don't think a lot. That's why I think SLU makes it at least to the 2nd, maybe even 3rd round, and definitely will pass Miami, Ohio in the tournament.
The Billikens I like. I mean, yes, those 2 losses are alarming, and if you take rid of those 2 losses, I would have been a lot higher on them, but they've looked a lot more human as of late. But this is one of those Cinderella teams that's coming out that I actually don't hate. Like you said, the defense is there, the offense is there, and they've actually, the A-10 is not a complete buns conference. I mean, there is actually some talent. Not much, but there's some
You got
talent there.
Dayton, VCU, both of which
Exactly.
are good. You have, I mean, plenty of talent down the way in the entire A10.
So I don't hate the Billikens. I feel like they've actually played some of their teams, and they've lost some bad games. They are not by any means going to win the conference, I mean the tournament. But they're going to, turn a few heads. Anyone that doubted them, I do have a little bit more faith in them over Miami, which I just don't have any in.
It's good to see because, you look back to 2 years ago when Robbie Avila at Indiana State with the head coach now at St. Louis, and, they just missed out in the tournament. This year they seem to get over that hump, presumably unless they lose their last few games, which I don't expect them to. I think they hopefully can win the A10 tournament and get the automatic bid either way.
Yeah.
But they're a really good team, and I also favor them over Miami, Ohio to go further in the tournament. And I would be interested to see if somehow, some way they worked out a way to have them face in the first round.
The battle of the Cinderellas. Now, I ask you guys, because I didn't actually I know I got to go on my rant, but Miami, Ohio, what's your guys' opinion on them? Do they have any chance of making any noise, or is it just going to be a little pebble in the water, just a bloop?
They have 7 players that score over 10 points. And I think that's a great idea. I just don't think this team has the defense. They have the offense, they don't have the defense to back it up when it comes to tournament time.
As I look at this Miami, Ohio team, I get the points on being, they can be good because they're 28-0, but they have played a very soft schedule. And I think I agree with Charles here that the soft schedule is going to really affect them come March Madness because as soon as they face a tough team, they're going to realize what real basketball is and what Power 4 basketball looks like because it's a lot different than playing the School of the Blind. It's a lot different than playing the School of the Blind. And so they're going to learn real quickly once they come up against a tough opponent because we've seen some games recently where they've had some close ones. Yes, they've squeaked them out, and fair play to them because they are winning these close games. They are finding ways to win, and good teams do find ways to win. Yes, they are a good team. They're not going to be a team that wins a tournament game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at Miami, Ohio, that is literally my exact thing that I say for them. You guys have made it this far. Kudos to you. It's time to rest now, though. Let's get the national idea out of here because they're not going to go far. But they're in the shoes of you guys did what you came out to do and in a very impressive fashion. I have nothing but respect for this team and Mac play. Just a second that we go above that, though, that's where we start to get a little bit sketchy.
We're getting down to the back stretch of college basketball. Let's flip the sports calendar, though, and go to the beginning of the MLB season, spring training, and our NL division predictions when we come back on Grand Slam Sports. Let's get into some spring training action. We're about a week or so into the MLB spring training, and we all had a few guys that have impressed us thus far. Charles, who's impressed you?
I'm going to go with Michael Arroyo, the number 67th overall prospect for the Reds. I'm surrounded by children, but yeah, for the Reds. I mean, he's been coming in a phenomenal fashion. He's looked really good. He's in the midst of a position change right now, and currently actually has 3 home runs in his batting attempts. He plays second base for the most part, but they've been talking about the idea of him going to play in the outfield and potentially move positions because he's playing so well. So, I mean, it's been very impressive to kind of see what Arroyo has been doing so far in spring training, and this is what you kind of look at. I mean, a lot of people like to look at like the best of the best and see if they're still as good as they are. They're going to be fine. I like to see the prospects come in, like the good players like that come in and really show me that they're worth a grain of salt. Another player like that, another player on the other side of things, though, if you want to see the best of the best, Manny Machado had a phenomenal game last night. He's been okay, but his game last night was amazing. So I mean, just kind of looking at those 2 players, those have been the ones that have impressed me so far in spring training.
I'm going to go a little bit of bias here and go with a Yankees prospect in Carlos Lagrange because you look back to before it actually began, spring training did, and he was throwing 102 miles per hour at Aaron Judge and BP, and I'm like, okay, this guy has some stuff. And he's also a starter potential for the Yankees on the line. He's going to begin the year in AAA, but he started a game against the Tigers just a few games back and was throwing upwards of 102, 103 miles per hour on some of his pitches. 7 of his 19 four-seamers were over 101 miles per hour.
Yeah.
This guy can throw absolute gas, and he has some control as well. If he can get some command to add to that, he can be a legitimate starter for the Yankees.
His stuff is nasty. I mean, he was on my list of people that I was thinking potentially. I mean, he's the fastest. He's thrown some of the fastest pitches in spring training so far, other than Mason Miller, which is a pretty high bar to go. Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah, the stuff is there, and I've loved him. So I like the pick.
I've got a couple players. First, I want to talk about Connor Griffin. I wouldn't say he surprised me what he's done, but it's nice to see it. A guy who's graded 70 hitting, which is the highest you can be, and actually perform at that level. He's one of 13-ish players to get that grade, and he has definitely performed there. And then I'm going to show my bias a little bit in 2 players who have been teammates for most of their lives in Arizona. Nolan Gorman and Matthew Liberatore have come out in spring training, and Liberatore has basically not allowed anything, and Nolan Gorman has figured out how to hit the ball. And when he hits the ball, it goes very far, and goes very hard. Once they can figure their stuff out, they're dominant players. They have the ability. They have the talent. It's just where and when can they show it.
Well, that's spring training for you. We'll get into that a little bit more as it gets towards the end of it. But it's time for some more, maybe you can call it way too early, just too early predictions. We'll get into the National League. We've already done our AL predictions. Now let's go ahead and pop over to the NL side, and we'll go in the order as usual. Jackson, the NL East, who are you feeling this year out in the East?
A team that didn't really do a lot, the Phillies. They didn't bring in any special pieces, didn't make any massive moves. But they have the best roster, I believe, in this team. They have the most rounded roster defensively to pitching to their lineup. I think every part of it is scary and has this showing of dominance. I think this Phillies team is better than any other team in this division.
I like what the Mets have done this offseason. You get Bo Bichette. You go out and get Marcus Semien. You have a really good starting five in your pitching rotation. I think this is the year the Mets finally can win the NL East and can make a run to the World Series. They have the roster. They have the pitching. To me, the Mets are the best team in the East.
This is the best division, or at least the best top-heavy division in all of baseball. And I think I'm going to have to go with Jackson on this one on the Phillies. I like what the Mets did, but I like what the Mets did the last 3 years, and they still haven't impressed me in their actual play on the field. So the Mets just have this habit of building an amazing roster and then sucking after. So, the Phillies, they win games. They only got a little bit better with some of the picks that they brought in. They kept a lot of the players. They have multiple Cy Young candidates on this team and players that are going to take another leap. And I think the Adolis Garcia, bringing him in, and just another, even the Braves are another sneaky team that is they're not sneaky because they're amazing, but they've obviously had some off years lately.
And I wouldn't be shocked to see if the Braves even pass the Mets. It's not that I don't like this Mets lineup, this Mets rotation. I don't like how it's built. They have the players. I don't think it's a team together. I don't think they play as a team. I don't love how they play. And the Braves, a healthy Braves team last year I think they win the division. Now, since they are injured, everybody basically on that rotation is coming back from some sort of injury. Take it back. But I still like this Braves team more than I like the Mets team.
I need to see the Mets win. I need to see the Mets win games because they've had one of the best rosters in the East for the past few years running, and they just haven't impressed me. They spend the most money in the league. They haven't impressed me. They brought in Juan Soto on the biggest contract ever. It didn't impress me. It's just this is a team that continues to just be they have the bar, and they always miss it every single time.
Trust me, I hope they suck. As a Yankee fan, I hope the Mets just absolutely suck. But to me, they had the best roster in the East. That's why I picked them in the East, because to me, they just have the most firepower. And if, like you said, they can put it together, they can actually win games, they are going to be the favorite to me in the NL East.
Fair.
Flipping things over now to the NL Central. Jackson, what are we thinking over there?
I picked the Brewers, and I wrote down, I don't think any team is going to win this division. I think 4 teams are going to lose it. And I think you give the team that's going to be the best is the Brewers. They have that gritty personality. Did they get worse? Yes. But I think they're still better than the Cubs, and that's the other team you would put second. I think they're better than the Pirates. I think Pirates might be the worst team in this division just because I don't like them, but that's beside the point. I think they're better than the Reds, and I think they're better than the Cardinals.
I can think of another team that's a little bit worse in that division. Jackson?
Cardinals are the fourth. Cardinals are the fourth. I'll put them still fourth. But I have the Brewers. I think they have that gritty mentality. Their pitching has gone downhill, but I still think I'm taking them.
I can never trust Milwaukee. I'm sorry. No matter who they are, no matter who they have, I can never trust Milwaukee. I'm going with the Cubs here. You kind of talked a bit about the Cubs being second. I think they have just enough to get them over the hump in the NL Central. They have really good rotation. They got some good signings this offseason. I think PCA is going to take that next step to be an MVP-level caliber player. I think they have the roster to do so.
Well, you said you can never trust the Brewers. I can trust them to do one thing, and that's be really good in the regular season and suck in the offseason.
That's fair.
This is a regular season award. I have the Brewers as well. Looking at the next one, though. NL West.
The NL West. This one could be interesting, Jackson. What are we thinking over there?
Say another team, I dare you.
Please.
I do
please
have the Padres on here.
Oh, no.
I don't know. Hold on.
Why?
I don't know if I have them winning, but they need to get mentioned. They are
It's not happening.
one of the best teams in the NL, if not the second best team in the NL. And since they play the Dodgers more than anybody else does, they never have
So they
the
can go
record to prove
4-14
that.
against them?
The Dodgers are the Avengers of MLB baseball, and they somehow got better. They picked up Superman in the offseason, too.
Jackson Merrill. I love Jackson Merrill, Tatis, Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado. And I think the Padres got better. This team is scary.
This team is a team. That team is a team.
I take them over the Mets. I take them over the Phillies. I take them over the Braves.
Yes,
I take
you
them over
might take
any
them-
Central team.
You might take them over those teams in the East and Central, but the Dodgers are just that good.
And
Yeah.
Dodgers are going to lose eventually. It's going to happen. Karma's going to get them. This is the year that Karma gets the Dodgers.
They got better. They got
This is the
better,
year
and they're
Karma
going to have Ohtani in the rotation full
Yeah,
time.
no.
That doesn't scare me at all. Otani's
Listen.
never been a great pitcher.
The Padres are a wild card team, okay?
That's worth of forever
But
saying
they're
it.
going against God, okay? And they're not going to have, they can't reach high enough to swing against God. I mean, that's just the way it is. The Dodgers are too good. Every other team thought they were going to fall last year. They didn't fall. They somehow got better because, God forbid, anyone else signs anywhere that's not for the blue and white. The Dodgers they're going to continue to run the league. The Padres will be a wild card team, but they're not going to win
The
the
baseball gods say otherwise. This is the year the Dodgers.
They are the baseball
Literally,
gods.
bro.
No,
There's no-
the baseball gods. There's people above the
The
Dodgers.
Dodgers are the baseball
Dodgers are
gods.
going to have a bad year, bad luck. Give me the Padres.
I really, really hope the Dodgers just annihilate San Diego now. I just annihilate them.
I don't even want the Dodgers to win now, but because I hate the Dodgers. I'm a Blue
But, like,
Jays fan.
just because
But
at this point.
I can't even sit here and pretend like this is okay.
No, bro, I don't understand. I thought for sure clean sweep Dodgers. You know, it's gonna be simple. Easy.
Exactly. I thought this would be
You
like
couldn't
a
make it easy,
20
could you, Jack? You couldn't make
No,
it easy.
because the Padres need to get mentioned. They
They
are
need
too
to
good
get
of a,
mentioned.
They are too good of a team.
Below them, they are simply
They
the
are
disciples.
too good of a team.
They don't even consider getting close to the Dodgers. That's the problem. I hate the Dodgers, but I will sit there and I will admit every single team needs to kneel before the Dodgers before the season starts. That's just the way it goes because they're playing the Dodgers game. And this team is a team that has threatened the entire existence of the MLB. I've never seen a team so good that executives are considering shutting down the league because they're that good, because they cannot handle the amount of money that they send. And you want to sit there and say that the Padres, the power of friendship and others are going to win? No.
Friendship?
They have like 3 good players and a bunch of Joes that go and do plumbing every single day. This is not a good team.
And the Dodgers have
3
nine
good
all-star,
players?
nine
The
all-star
Dodgers
guys.
have 3 MVPs.
Okay, I'll give you that. But you can't say 3 good players for the Padres. We're not going to talk bad about the Padres. Padres are a
Padres
fantastic
compared
team.
to Dodgers are not even on the same podium. Okay? They're not. They're not even in the same level.
I can
There's
give you
like
that.
S
On
tier
roster.
and there's A tier. Okay?
On roster, on paper, the Dodgers are so much better than every team. But the Padres are the second. I still think their roster is the second best in the league. Second best in the NL. I do
league?
agree. In the NL. I
mean,
said
he said in the NL.
Okay, I'm
NL.
making sure.
NL.
Roster-wise, I'm taking the Mets over them.
Yeah,
No.
honestly.
We're just doing
Pure
roster
yeah.
composition.
I still love the
I don't like
Padres
the
roster.
Mets, but their roster is better. The Phillies, I'm taking over the Padres. The
Yeah.
Braves, I'm taking over
I
the
think
Padres.
I think again, it's more well-rounded. They have the defensive side of things. They have the pitching staff. They have the offense. They have the lineup. I don't care what y'all think. I take the Padres.
I don't like this guy. Get him off the set.
I wish I had something bigger to throw at you, but I don't. Maybe next week.
All right. That will be it for the MLB segment. We'll pop into the NBA and talk, once again, Adam Silver's rule changes. Once again. Adam Silver coming up next on Grand Slam Sports. A hot topic in the NBA right now is the 65-game rule. The rule that was implemented a few years ago to try to get the star players to play more games. And for the league, you know, is it hurting right now? Because look at the MVP race, and you got guys like Jokic, guys like Wembanyama who are getting near that 65-game mark, and they're struggling to reach it, and they wouldn't be eligible for the MVP.
I'm sorry. Was that English?
What?
Chase just looked at me, and he didn't even stop. He didn't even try to correct himself. He just looked at me.
What?
Going on to what you were saying. No. Hey, Adam. We got more things to talk about. Adam, we talked
That's
last
funny.
week about your tanking rules, and now we get to talk about the 65-game rules. The 65-game rules on paper is a great idea. I mean, it works. And I think on paper, like I said, it works because the idea of incentivizing players to play more is a good idea until it doesn't. Because SGA has been out with an abdominal injury the entire last month or so of the season. It would have probably been out longer if it was not for the All-Star break, according to their head coach. And he doesn't want to miss these games, and now he's probably not going to be in the MVP candidate because he was out for 16, 17 games. That's not fair to me. So I think that we need to have a conversation about should the 65 games be brought less? Because I've always had that, like, I like the idea, but 65 games is just too little. Missing 17 games, that's a month. That's a twisted ankle. That's a sprained ankle, and you're not MVP anymore. And let's be honest, the players that we were concerned about missing too much time were never MVP candidates. Kawhi's not winning an MVP. Kawhi, those are the players we were concerned about. So it was, I think that the players that matter are being affected by this rule too much.
Yeah, I like the rule. I do think there should be some kind of game minimum to how many games you can play till you get awards. Is 65 too high? Probably. I want to watch my favorite players every single week, and I want to see them perform. And so when you're going to sit out, it's not the injuries that bother me, it's the rest days. Oh, I don't feel like playing today. That's the issue. Nobody cares that if you're hurt and you're not playing, you shouldn't play. Nobody wants you to get re-hurt. And now you have to focus more on, well, now if I'm hurt, I can't get awards. Now I'm going to play on injuries, and it forces worse and worse injuries to get that extra credit and extra accolade.
You know, I'm not a big fan of the 65-game rule. Kind of to Jackson's point, you know, I feel like the injuries shouldn't count against them. I feel like it should be those rest days that count against them. And these injuries, I mean, they happen. Injuries happen. And for guys like Jokic, you know, who's basically one game away from being ineligible for an MVP, when he's having an MVP caliber season, why take away that accolade just because he was hurt?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, and like you said, but there's that fine line of if we take away injuries, what about rest management? There's a lot of players that are on injury management
Well, then I
because
feel
they
like
can't
you
play
leave it up to the
back-to-back.
NBA's discretion for,
Exactly.
you know.
So, I mean, I think that would be a little bit too much thinking. I think they need a system, and I think like 55 games, over half the season, over 60% of the season, and you give them that extra 2-3 weeks of, you know, if I sprain my ankle, I'm not going to lose my MVP because, yes, Cade Cunningham's having an amazing season, but Wembanyama is close to not being able to win Defensive Player of the Year despite him literally being the stalwart of defense in the NBA for years to come. I mean, that's the problem, is that the players that are deserving are not going to have a chance to win it because of these rules. So, I mean, Cade Cunningham right now is the favorite to win MVP, but not because he's the best player, but because he's the only one that's been healthy enough the whole year.
It's another thing of Adam Silver putting in a rule that the idea sounded good, but the implementation of it just isn't the right way that they should go
It
about
wasn't
it.
a horrible idea. Fine tune it. And that's the way that it kind of goes. But I got another idea, Adam. Throw him in another tournament. That'd be how we solve MVP.
Always throw in a tournament. When in doubt, we need a tournament.
Well, we'll see what Adam Silver does indeed decide to do regarding the 65-game rule and whatnot. But it's about time for our Foster 5. Let's head over to Charles to hear about his top 5 prospects in the upcoming NBA draft.
Thank you, Jace. We got the Foster 5 today, and today we're going to talk about my top 5 picks. There's a lot of people to go through today, but we're going to start with number 5, Kingston Flemings, the Houston guard. He's been one of my more NBA-ready talents. I love the way that he defends. I think that he's been a really good point guard for this Houston team, and he comes with some harder players because my 6th and 7th players are also players that could go top 5. So Kingston Flemings, you know, with hesitation at number 5, but these next 4 to me are clear as day. Just argue the order. Number 4, Caleb Wilson. I think his really goes based on the fit. I think he's one of the best players in this draft. And some other drafts, he would go number 1. In 2023, all these guys could go, or 2024, sorry, all these guys would have gone number 1. So Caleb Wilson for me. At number 3, we have Cam Boozer. Cameron Boozer has had a phenomenal season. He could even be arguably a number 1 overall pick, but I just don't like him as much as I like the other 2 guys. So Cam Boozer is going to go number 3. Number 2, AJ Divansa, the BYU prospect. I have loved this guy since he got picked to the team. I know I can already see the faces over there. They're not going to like who my number 1 is, but you can't argue with talent. The last player that they said that didn't love the game, that went number 1 overall pick, was Anthony Edwards, and Darren Peterson reminds me a lot of him whenever it comes to that. He protects his brand. Listen, you can hate all you want about the fact that he doesn't play, but he's the best talent and one of the best guard prospects that we have seen in almost a decade, and you can't argue with that. And Darren Peterson's going to go my number 1 overall pick. I know that you can argue all you want, but you can argue with the wall. Darren Peterson's the best player in this draft.
I'm not sure how exactly I feel about this, Charles. I mean, you look at number 1 in Darren Peterson, and I think me and Jackson are both going to agree here. This for a guy who has decided to bench himself, why would he be the number 1 prospect? Yes, I get that talent-wise, pure talent, he is the best overall prospect. But for NBA teams, I don't think many of them will have him number 1 on their board, given the fact that he just doesn't like basketball.
I don't want a player on my team who isn't going to play basketball. Yes, is he decent at basketball, and when he plays, he's pretty good. When he's off the court, when he doesn't play games, I think Kansas is a better team because of other players that they have. And I think they play better when he's not. He's a ball hog. He's not a team player. I don't want a guy who's going to, when he plays, he's not going to pass the ball. His goal is to score. His goal is not to win. His goal is to make himself look good. And that's not a basketball player. That's not an NBA player. That's a My Park kind of player. He'd be great in LA Fitness in 5 years. But right now, no. I don't want him on my team.
You're very lucky that we are limited on the amount of time that we have because I can argue with this all day. Number one, the fact that you said that he does not like basketball is not the case. It's the same thing with Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq said it himself. The reason why he did not play all his games and the reason why he only stayed for 1 year in college is because he did not want to risk injury because he knew he was that good. Shaquille O'Neal is one of the best centers of all time. So coming from him, I think that is a high bar. Darren Peterson has nothing to prove. He's been an NBA talent since day one. He's been an NBA talent since he put on the Kansas jersey, and he's been a top 5 pick since then. He has nothing to prove to us. That's the thing for me is that, yes, you can hate on Darren Peterson. I hate on Darren Peterson, but you can't deny talent. I think you guys took the little things on the back of the Nike shirts that say hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. I think you guys took that a little bit too literally because the last player that they said that didn't work hard and didn't like it was Anthony Edwards, and he's one of the best players in the league and the potential face of the NBA as we know.
Everybody else on this list that you mentioned, everybody else on this list, plays basketball. They could have not played basketball at all in college, and they could have made it to the NBA. Cameron Boozer, out of high school, was talked about as one of the best recruits. A.J. DeBonze was talked as better than Cooper Flack. They could have been in the NBA too, but they still want to win games. I don't care how good you are. Yes, talent is important, but we've seen some of the most talented people still not make it in the NBA.
And I hate to cut the conversation short. Maybe we can continue it at a future time, but that'll do it for today's edition of Grand Slam Sports. The Foster 5 wrapping it up, and that'll do it for today.